Hey everyone, welcome
to the Repurposed Podcast.
Man, it has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
But they say good things come to those who wait, and nothing good comes easy. And here we are to live to tell the story.
That's right.
But I'm Hannah. I am your host. And this beauty sitting next to me is
Maddie, and I'm your co-host.
So I'm really excited to have Maddie here because Maddie has been a huge help in the parent brand of the Repurposed Podcast, which is Hide and Hunter. And we've known each other for about a year now.
Yeah.
And she came onto the team about a year ago, and she's been doing everything from social media to correspondence. To brand development.
Yeah.
And she has been such a huge help. So when I had the idea of the podcast and kind of shifting focus from Hide and Hunter to this new venture, I was like, Maddie, would you be interested in coming onto the team and helping, transitioning those responsibilities from Hide and Hunter to this, like helping social media, marketing, all that stuff. But also I'm like, hey, do you want to also be in front of the camera?
Do this thing?
I'm like, come on, be a part of it.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to kind of team up on some of the videos. I think we're going to do our own little segment. But the bulk of the Repurposed Podcast, the main focus is it's taking me from my original career of making leather goods and repurposed saddlebags and product to now the retelling of repurposed lives.
Right.
So that's kind of the focus of this podcast. And the primary goal will be interviewing people who have gone through a repurposing in life, whether it was career, whether it was a hardship that they overcame, whether it was family dynamic. But the whole point will be telling the stories of how did they get through, what was the pivot point of that repurposing, what caused it, how did that look, and then where are they now in their new career, life, whatever it is. And I think looking back on Hide and Hunter, I realized in my process of working at our brick and mortar shop, I was having all of these amazing customers coming in telling me stories of like restoration, redemption, grace, encouragement, hope. And a lot of them had been through really tough experiences. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to be able to figure out a platform to share these stories because life is hard.
Yeah.
And so again, like I said, I kind of shifted my attention from the selling of repurposed goods to the retelling of repurposed lives.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be really the focus of this podcast. And then as I was kind of telling Maddie about what I was wanting to do with this and kind of bouncing ideas off of her, she came up with a cool idea of having a segment, which we're going to be co-hosts on. Yeah. It's going to be under the umbrella of the Repurposed Podcast, but where we kind of target topics that viewers want to hear more about, things that are put on our hearts that we want to do some research on and kind of cover. So we're going to do a little bit of a few different things. We're going to be interviewing people with really cool stories, and then Maddie and I are going to kind of delve into some kind of neat topics as well.
Yeah.
I'm so excited you're here.
I know.
And so, okay, a year ago we met.
Yeah.
So you came into the shop, and that was there an event going on?
No.
We weren't hosting
No.
You said graduation. You were walking with some friends. It was graduation.
Yeah,
week.
and we had dinner down on Morris Ave.
But we weren't having an event.
No.
Okay, so y'all just wandered in.
It was just you.
Just me and just you.
Yeah.
And your friends.
Yeah.
But you bought some, like a vintage shirt or something. Yeah. And then through the course of time, I think I realized the help that I needed in the shop. And that was when I posted like, hey, this is what we're looking for. We're looking to bring someone onto the team to handle these areas of the brand. And you reached out. Yeah. And it was such a perfect little union of
covenant.
You and this word covenant. I love it. This perfect little covenant of bringing both of our specialties together. And I feel like we've made a pretty good team.
Yeah.
You've been a huge help.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. So Maddie, tell me a little bit about you. What brought you to Hide and Hunter, the steps before that? Give me a little background.
Okay, so when we met, I was actually in Highlands College.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did a ton of social media there. If y'all look at Highlands College, their social media. I'm the girl that's doing the Tiny Mac Tuesday, but I always loved social media. So I did all the events and stuff. And I was big into vintage at that time.
You have cool style, by the way.
Cool style. Well, the Lord convicted me about my style literally a month after I met you.
So what did that look like?
So I sold all my Jordans, all my Dunks.
I remember
everything.
That. Yes.
I sold a bunch of clothes. I remember was like meeting people every day, like at the school. I sold some things at the school. And I just got convicted because I idolized my clothes.
Yeah.
Like I was online shopping every day. A package was coming in, yeah.
And Highlands College doesn't pay enough for you with your online shopping of Jordans.
That's real. That is real.
So, okay, before Highlands College, where were you? Like, what led you to even doing that?
Oh.
Was that always something you had in mind?
Never.
Okay.
I was working at the dentist, and I planned on going to dental school. And Pastor Lane, which is one of our pastors, I was honestly going, I don't want to get too deep into this, but I was going through a rough season, honestly. And I was asking the Lord, I'm like, Lord, I need something new. Because I was like waking up in the morning just in enough time to get ready for work and go to work. Then I would work out. Was not happy with life. Anyways, I was praying, asking the Lord to give me something new. Pastor Lane approaches me at one of our Sundays when I was greeting, and he asked if I was in Highlands College. And I said, no, sir. And he was like, why? And I told him because I just bought a car. Like, honestly, I never really thought about being in ministry. I just planned on serving and being in student ministry, like as a leader, but not as like a full-time job, like a volunteer almost. And yeah, I was just like, honestly, it's not something I thought about, not anything I could afford. And he laughed. He was like, you're not in Highlands College because of finances. And I was like, well, yeah, kind of. And then 4 days.
Finances matter.
Right. And yeah, I get a call 4 days later and I get offered a scholarship to.
How cool.
And I have like 2 weeks to move.
Wow.
Sell my townhouse. My girl Kaylee took over my lease, which I am so grateful. And I quit my job with a dentist, and I was really close with the women there, but they were understanding, and it was honestly a hard transition. And we can go into detail because the way the Lord just opened doors and closed doors was just so beautiful. And I'm so grateful that Pastor Lane approached me,
right,
and was obedient in that.
And it was something you had been praying about.
Exactly. And he was so specific. And anyways, it just called me up and moved in on my 21st birthday. Aww. I celebrated my 21st birthday at orientation. Yeah. Yeah.
How cute.
I know. So that was my life. And I just graduated in May. And now I work for a few nonprofits, and I just do social media for like a couple other people.
Yes. Well, you have been such a huge help. And I mean, so did you get a lot of your training from Highlands, even in the social media, or was that your own research, learning?
Own research.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now, did you ever think that that was what you wanted to get into to the degree that you are?
No. I just thought it was something fun because I started the, what's it called? Photo dumps when they were a thing, like 2018. Is that the year that they started? And I just had like a cool aesthetic, like Instagram, low exposure. And people just always liked it. So I had to keep up with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, even though it was like moody and like a photo dump, it was still cool.
Yeah.
And so people would, I don't know, I just felt like I had to keep up with it. And I always had a cool feed. And I liked that.
Well, you just have a cool energy.
Oh.
It's been neat, like, you coming on to Hide and Hunter and helping, because I feel like between you and I, like, we really kind of target a lot of age groups. We like a lot of the demographics, and you're really approachable, and but you know what you're doing, and you bring a very cool vibe to Hide and Hunter. And it was really cool because at the time you came to the shop, just a little like backstory. I had been doing Hide and Hunter for 13 years. I opened the brick and mortar shop about, I guess, 3 years ago now. So we were in there almost 3 years. And although I loved it, having a brick and mortar has its own headaches. And I think I was having a hard time balancing everything. I was exhausted and just kind of felt like I had been run over. And then when you came onto the team, I was able to kind of pass that chalice to you and feel safe knowing that it was in your
Sweet.
hands, because I think that you had the element that I so badly wanted to bring in the shop, which was providing a cool product, but also being a brand that went a little bit deeper than just the product we were giving. Like we almost kind of provided a service of, I don't know, like being a friend to the people who came into the shop. And I think that where I was at in life, although that was a priority to me, to still provide a space that allowed for these really amazing conversations, which was why I opened the shop in the first place, was because I realized the amount of conversations when I would do pop-ups and events and stuff, we somehow always got, like, just strangers would come up and we would get into like 30-minute, hour-long conversations. Just amazing conversations. And I so badly wanted to continue that process in the shop, and we did. But when I had posted looking for help, I was at a place where I was like, I cannot manage and handle everything in life that was going on.
Yeah. And I just want to add onto this right now. You did such a great job inviting the Spirit into the shop and making it a safe place for people just to come in.
That means a lot.
I'm serious. All my friends came in. Even random people would say that they felt the Holy Spirit when they came in to Hyde and Hunter, the brick and mortar.
Well, and I think that was what I wanted, because I wanted it to be, I always think of my mom, because no matter what house we're in, which we haven't moved a ton, but we were in a smaller home, and then my parents renovated an old historical home in Pensacola. But regardless of where we were at or to what level of renovation our house was under, she always had a way of making the space very cozy, like very comfy cozy. And we'd have friends come over and be like, oh, it's so comfortable here. And the goal of the shop was to kind of create a space that was the extension of my living room. Obviously, we needed to sell product. That was the goal. But I wanted it to be a place where people actually enjoyed coming and shopping and hanging out. And that was really cool, because it did create a community of people that came in.
Right.
And you were one of them, which developed into more. And so when you came in, I felt, because of your history, your personality, your style, I felt like this was someone that I could safely and confidently, like, kind of pass the chalice to. Although I was still a part of it, I feel like I could really hand it to you and step away to recoup to some degree and re-energize myself, because I was just running on empty.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to worry about it. And what was neat was you kind of created your own community, kind of using the shop. I remember when you came on, I was like, I don't care if your friends come hang out. I don't care.
Ryan came into the shop and he was like, if y'all need any help with...
Shout out to our cameraman, Ryan.
I know, Ryan. He came in with his friend Spencer and they bought a few things.
Yeah.
And he was like, also, if y'all need any help with like video, photo. And
we put his money where his mouth is.
Here we are.
Whether he liked it or not, we took him up on that. But I think that was... just kind of an example of the shop, like kind of what the shop represented and provided. But it was also an example of the people behind the shop.
Yeah.
So when I wasn't able to, and it's not like I was just MIA, but I just couldn't, I was newly engaged. I was, planning a wedding. I was trying to operate a shop while also trying to produce product. It was just too much for me, I think, in moments. And you really were such a blessing coming in to kind of remove some of that weight. So even though we're our own people, our own style, like I think that we really kind of coordinate pretty well.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's why I think this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Having our segment.
I know.
With the Repurposed Podcast.
That's right.
But we'll get into that another time. We can't expose too much, but so yeah, we're just excited to be a part of it. We've got the general layout of the podcast will be interview based.
Right.
Will be the main meat and potatoes of the podcast. We'll bring on really cool guests who have really great stories.
Sorry.
I'm hungry. I can tell I'm hungry because my analogies are food based.
That's hilarious.
Meat and potatoes.
Oh my gosh. They're going to be able to hear my wheeze.
We're not perfect, Matt.
I know.
Although we might look it. But the main gist of the podcast will be where we bring on guests from all walks of life with really incredible stories to share. just so that we can provide an environment, that we don't have to pay the more or the rent of. That's released us.
Real.
That was kind of an issue. Like, I had such amazing conversations at the shop, but at the same time, I still needed to sell bags
Right.
to pay for the overhead. And so I felt like I was at a place of like really kind of not being 100% on either side.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I think what's most important now, because I love my product. This is where I feel God calling me in this direction, because although I love my product, I love making it. I really realize that there's more of a need of like hope, encouragement, stories of restoration and redemption over just a new bag. And I love my bags. I'll always make them. But I thought this way, once we got out of the lease of our shop and we were able to go back to full online, I was like, oh my gosh, now we can actually create an environment and a platform to tell these stories. So I went from selling repurposed product, vintage bags, to the retelling of repurposed people.
Yeah.
And I think I realized in having the shop and having you there, people continued that same behavior with you. They would come in and share with you their stories. And some of them were not through the point of repurposing yet. Some of them were in the nitty-gritty valley of whatever it was they were going through. But you provided them an ear. And that's why I think you're great to come on here as well. You've got so much.
You're great.
I think you're great. So much wisdom to share.
Yeah.
But don't you feel like that? Didn't you experience? I remember you calling me, telling me you've had
like
these crazy stories.
Right? They were crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking me to be a part of this.
Well, thank you for being a part of this. But you carry many hats.
Many
hats. You're a huge help. So she'll be definitely still helping with the social media, because I'm not great at that. That's a strength of yours. The creative side, the aesthetic. What are you looking forward to doing with the podcast? Like, what brought you to kind of be like, let's do this?
Yeah. Well, I just think that whenever you and I meet, we could talk for hours.
Yeah.
And now that we have this platform, I feel like the Lord is just going to use us to like bring our conversations out for other people. Or how would I word that? Bring our conversations
to more people. Because I think that there's a lot of stuff we talk about that we're like, and we almost kind of, sometimes we'll have questions or thoughts, and then through process, like talking them out, we've kind of almost figured them out. And I think that's kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of topics that people, or like maybe things that they're struggling with or they're curious about, and they don't really have the environment to investigate them, pour into them. And I think that's something that you and I are pretty good about doing, is kind of talking these topics out. And you've had some good ones. You've already told me a few that you want to kind of get on here and talk about. And I think I'm really excited to see what that brings.
Yeah. I just feel like people lack the knowledge of certain topics, especially like within the church, and not even just within the church, but like with their relationship with the Lord. And I think you and I just talk so much about it. I don't know.
And just real life stuff that's going on. And crazy things like the dream that you told me about.
Oh, yeah. Visions and dreams.
Visions and dreams. But we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, they're crazy.
They're crazy. But a lot of people have them.
Yeah.
So why not like dissect
And some people
them?
like don't even think they're from the Lord.
Yeah. Sometimes they think, oh, it's just
just a crazy dream.
About.
No, there's some power behind it.
To that.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
So we'll just get into that. And but yeah, like I was saying, I just think the Lord has given us a platform now to bring our conversations out to the world and for the world.
And we both have like experience, I feel like, to kind of tackle them and these conversations with grace, but also with truth.
Right.
Because sometimes people don't want to discuss them.
I know.
So that'll be kind of our field of focus with our segment. And then, of course, we'll bring on more guests to interview and hear their background stories. And I think that it's going to be a good time.
I do too.
I think that's just about covered our little introductory video.
That's right.
But we're excited to have y'all on for the ride. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe as we begin posting more content interviews, and all the things that we think that you're really going to enjoy.
Yeah.
All right. We love y'all.
Bye.